Soul Warlord.
Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Medusa.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Thank you very much, Red Eye. And indeed, here we are back in Kiev and ready for the third and final game of this first series of the day. TNC versus Faceless. The draft's complete. I'm OD Pixel. I'm here with Cinder. And Faceless going for something a little similar to what we saw in game one that they had success with. Black gets his Slark again. TNC, though, they're doing something a little bit different. Game one was an absolute nightmare for them against the Black Slark.
We're to first pick the Ogre that we saw dominate in the first game out of Faceless, so very curious to see if TNC can have a similar amount of success with it in this game. I actually really like their lineup. I think TNC's draft looks really great.
It's got a great 5-man potential. As soon as they start to pull together, having battle trance from the Troll with himself, the OD, even the Venge throwing punches in, the Bloodlust, the Omni backing up these heroes. If that comes together before the Medusa and the Slark get to a point, it's going to be very hard for Faceless to deal with that sort of pressure.
OD is also a pretty okay hero against Medusa, I think. Just having that insta-steal is annoying for Medusa to deal with. It deals a lot of damage by just removing the mana pool of her. Of course, you are playing it into the Nyx of Ice, arguably maybe his best hero. This hero was respect banned against Faceless at previous tournaments. This time they were able to get it here. But yeah, I think these are perhaps, for both teams, maybe the best draft they've had in the series. I think both lineups look really solid. And it kind of, I think to a large extent, comes down to how much this Ogre is able to do early on. If TNC can build an early advantage and just secure farm for their Troll and OD, who would like the game to go a little bit slow in the beginning so they can get a couple key items up, then they should be able to hit a very nice timing around the mid-game with this Omni Knight. The double saves, actually triple saves on their lineup, also very nice. XY forcing away Sam H here. Double runes down here, and double runes for TNC. But this is something to look out for in this game. The triple save on TNC is really good. Swap, Astral, and Omni Knight is very, very nicely rounded up.
I'll be interested to see what they do as well here with the lanes. I mean, TNC, for a start, they've moved Raven up to the top lane, and I'm wondering if they were doing that to try and get the lane against the Slark and really punish him in that safe lane. But Faceless, they've actually moved Black down to the bottom. So I think this, would you say, is Faceless dodging what TNC wanted to do up top?
Might have to wait a bit with that. Mid lane, ooh, XY very low here. Holding his Aphotic Shield the whole time so he can Knight should have come out. I don't actually know who's dodging who, to be honest. I would say, or actually I do know. Faceless are dodging.
Yeah.
They don't want to face this Troll with the Slark.
Yeah,
it's a very, very bad lane matchup. But the reason I'm saying that is that the lane bottom isn't great either. I think Slark will lose this lane as well to an Omni Knight. He's going to need help in either case, and that is one of the weaknesses of Slark, is his very limited laning phase. So I think TNC are actually pretty happy with this already. Just if they can play these lanes and not have their Omni-Knight counter too hard, they will be possibly winning all three.
Because it's interesting from Faceless as well. You've got Nuts jungling in the enemy jungle.
Yep.
So getting his early levels and taking away from maybe a potential area of the map that TNC may look to in the early few minutes. And indeed, as we saw the XY Abaddon sitting in the mid lane helping out Jabs get a strong start. And indeed, CS-wise, it's not actually really worked out. Cuckoo was fine with that pressure being applied to him as he still maintains the lead in these first couple of waves. Now Nuts and XY will turn down towards the bottom lane, and pretty much just as you were saying, Black, he needs help, and he does need it to stick around him.
I don't actually think they can kill this lane either. The Crystal Maiden Abaddon support is pretty awkward for this. Sure, you've got a Frostbite and a Pounce, but Abaddon can't really deal reliable damage at all. And if Sam H gets a point in Repel, he's fine. It's the other hero they can go on. It's an Ogre. So, oh, okay, maybe he's going to get a little help from the Centaur here, but yep. Very nice damage. Tims doesn't care at all. Will care when 3 heroes show up. He'll move a bit to the side, but still, so far so good for TNC. They're going to force Black away here nicely. Sam H will get this with a Purification, I would imagine. Just going to the left, all right. Confidence. Going for the attack. Actually, XY here will need some help from Nuts. And he could still just die here.
They've still got the Purification, bringing him down incredibly low. He has got an Aphotic Shield to rely on. And we'll get it out of the last minute. So trying to hold on to bait them as deep as possible. But even with that sort of attention being drawn, Faceless just don't have enough firepower to turn around and hit TNC back. Shrine up.
It's actually such a dumb lane. Omni Ogre. Oh. Lovely. So how is it going with the rest of the map? This bottom lane is an absolute stomp from TNC. Black has 5 CS to the 17 of Sam H. Honestly, I think Black could be doing a little bit better down here, but it is a really, really difficult matchup. Mid lane, Medusa, going pretty much neck and neck here with Cuckoo. And top lane is also a win here for TNC, so very, very good start for them. Maybe as expected, if you look at the picks, they are slightly stronger at this stage of the game at least, so want to build an advantage. The question is how Faceless really activate their Abaddon. He's kind of the question mark for me right now, this support Abaddon, how they bring this in a meaningful way in the game this early on. Black will use Shockwave, that's annoying. He's going to go on Tims here. Omni-Knight can connect from the right. This could go really bad for Faceless.
Yeah, Black realizes he backs away from Tims to make sure that he doesn't get hit by the initial Purification. XY will go for the chase down, but indeed Sam H comes through from the heel, keeps Tims safe, and this lane very hard, as you mentioned, for Faceless to do anything about. Even with these 3 heroes here, they're not getting the kills, and they're really not securing the farm for Black. Still sitting on only 7 CS at 4 minutes in.
Is under attack.
That's bad news for Slark. It's such a bad catch-up hero. Very slow without levels and that early safe lane goal. That's why you generally pick Slark late in your draft when you identify that you can, first of all, protect him in your safe lane, and secondly, that he has good core matchups. But this troll pick kind of threw them off a bit. Oh, bottom lane, Sam H doesn't have mana for Repel, actually. Overstayed is welcome. This could be first blood, and it is.
Finally pays off, catching the Omni on his own. No Ogre in the neighborhood. And as you said as well, just getting a little too greedy with his positioning low on the mana front. Mid lane, Jab started to pressure in. Tims, that's the presence of the Ogre in the mid lane now.
Oh, this is an aggressive play top as well. Wow. We'll get away. But Raven and Ryo definitely putting on the pressure in this top lane as well, identifying that, okay, if you guys are playing 3 heroes in the bottom area, we're not going to let your Knicks have a good time up here.
This'll come in handy.
Still, definite CS advantage for TNC across the map in these first 5 minutes. I mean, rotations from Faceless, that's going to be a question of where they can come through. We saw the one coming down onto the bottom, getting back and forth in a kill. Going for that again will certainly be a little harder. The Omni's got that extra level. He's back up to full health and full mana pretty much. Top lane Raven and Rhea intercepting with the side pull. And right, making sure that Raven has all the space he wants in this top lane. 32 CS at the moment, top of the board. Ice is getting the levels up it. Not a huge amount of farm. But we will certainly see at this rate a good level 6 timing.
No Stone Gaze just yet. He's level 5. There's going to have to be support coming in here, probably 4 Jabs. We'll force a TP from Omni.
Yeah, with XY coming through, not possible that Jabs can be gone on fully. And this is certainly going to be something that will be powerful in regards to the way that TNC are going to want to make a move around as a group in the mid game. The fact that they do have this capability of keeping the Deucer alive, almost certainly long enough to get the Stone Gaze off successfully. XY, and Nuts looking to chase down for more, but Tims realizing the Frostbite already utilized, nothing else that they can. TP straight out mid lane, Jabs going deep with the dive. It's almost certainly going to pay off. One more touch, no, the Fairy Fire keeps Cuckoo alive. Jabs up to the high ground, desperately searching, does have the illusion as well from XY, giving him the vision. Nice play from XY, making sure that the illusion remains, searching for OD, giving Medusa the view to get that final shot.
20 move speed advantage made the world of difference there. Medusa is a very slow hero with boots. I was wondering, like, how is he killing the OD? OD doesn't have boots yet. Simply ran him down. 315 to the 335 of Jabs, and if you chase hard enough, you're going to get an extra hit in. And that is the huge kill for them. Like, these lanes are still, lanes are still not looking good, but Jabs is at least having a pretty good game with that kill, especially. Top of the net worth with FaZe. Not the easiest lane for OD to play anymore. It wasn't easy in the first place.
Look towards Cuckoo.
Nuts just thinking about it.
Yeah, they've got the vision on him. And with that newly found phase boots, they could bring the Medusa over. It's quite deep to play though. And Nuts at the least will sap up the experience.
I think he's trying to steal this with a Crystal Nova actually. Okay.
Not going to reveal himself. Now the wraparound, in fact, is going to be coming from TNC. Jabs has to be careful, has yet to put a point in that Stone Gaze. Pretty good amount of mana shield, but 4 heroes will be coming in on the mid lane. Purification on Cuckoo along with the Repel keeps him strong. They'll look towards Jabs. The Phonic Shield comes out in time. Isn't going to be enough to save the juice. TNC take down Jabs, and they'll look towards XY as well. And of course, nowhere near the level 6 as of yet at 8 minutes in. Abaddon will also fall. TNC carrying some big plays in the mid lane.
Good rotations. They TP in the the Omni Knight immediately to save the OD. At that point, this fight is just over. They didn't even use Battle Trance. I don't know if he had it yet, Raven, but TNC certainly looking poised to building a big advantage in this game. And similar to previous games, it's just something we haven't really touched so much upon is the core combination of Faceless with this Slark plus Medusa. It's pretty slow. Slark is a fast hero with a pretty early game, but if he doesn't have it, he's very slow. Top lane, ice.
No way he gets out. But no, absolutely. It's something that TNC has sort of the opposite of. Definitely a lineup that gets off the ground and much quicker. Can start picking objectives, taking towers, something that you look over to Faceless. I mean, they've got an Abaddon, and that's nice for the push. Jabs until a certain point isn't really going to have a huge amount of damage. It's a lot slower pace than what TNC can play.
Not dead.
Oh,
maybe not.
Yeah, Jabs with a pretty little clutch ultimate play. Will it be enough time? No.
Oh.
Cuckoo gets in just a millisecond before the TP is successful with the Astral top lane Tims. He will TP out. But yeah, good attempt from Jabs to try and go for the cheeky save. It's going to mean there's this bit of time, 70 seconds without Stone Gaze available, so Jabs does have to be a little more careful in that mid lane for this minute.
And they also lose their safe lane tower minute 9 here, Faceless.
This could be a nice wraparound onto Black. He has Shadow Dance, and he's certainly going to have to use it to escape. And of course, no AoE control between the two. Well, and Black to get back to safety. Deny the room from Jabs, making sure that he is not able to get his hands on it.
I'm really surprised that Faceless haven't lane swapped in this game. As bad as this troll matchup could be, I still think it would have been a better choice overall for Faceless to get Black in the top area. Not necessarily to lane all the time, so he has access to a jungle. He's level 7 and he's not jungling with a Talon. I think that going down here is not the right choice, just flat out. It's not efficient enough. If he gets this pick, it's nice, but what a great swap from Riot.
Riot making sure he's not clipped by Black. With the swap out, dragging the Ogre in.
That's actually...
We'll get him Sam.
Totally fine. That was the perfect swap. It was almost frame perfect. It was right after he got pounced, so that the Ogre he swapped in did not get pounced.
Smart stuff.
Very nicely done from Ryo there.
Raven's actually moved himself now down to the bottom lane. An immediate reaction from Ice as he heads down with the Vendetta. Still very hard for him to set something up.
Wants to get the
against
courier,
these
but
two.
it's too fast. I feel like this play kind of needs to work for Faceless, else they're losing even more ground.
I mean, who do they got? These are two pretty beefy cores and a core support.
The mid tower. This is one of the advantages of having Medusa against OD, is that Medusa just keeps pushing out the wave all the time, putting a lot of pressure, and OD isn't very good at it in comparison. Well, this Nick stun is going to miss from Ice. He had to break his Vendetta. It was expiring anyway.
Black has the Talon, so into the camps he goes. He's to find the jungle.
Oh, it's good.
Did he steal that with the Fire Blast?
No, he tried.
Oh,
but
he tried.
Fire Blast deals like no damage in the first place, and then there's 2 magic resistance auras.
Worth a shot. Midas now complete for Cuckoo. So we'll start to see that OD climb his way back up towards the top. Very close at the moment between, well, the 4 highest cores, well, actually at the moment 3 of them are indeed on TNCs. Black still with quite a bit of catching up to do to get himself up there. And also Ice as well. Really going to be relying on hitting off some successful rotations with the Nyx Assassin top lane. Sam 8. He's nearly just outplaying XY here. In fact, he's getting the kill. The level 11 Omni Knight at 12 minutes in just destroyed that Abaddon. There was no hope for him. Poor old XY. He's still not got his level 6 yet.
The level 11 Omni Knight outplayed the level 5 Abaddon.
Who would have thunk it?
Unbelievable.
TNC smoked up, ready to look for more. Black is going to be the focus from this rotation. It is still a slippery catch. Towards the mid, Cuckoo spotting out Ice. Rotating T with the Vendetta, but the sentry was still down for TNC. And they bring down Black. Well, they're looking for the easier kill first. They get their hands onto Nuts on the side of it all. And will be chased down by Sam H. Swap back onto Black. Is the chain stun going to be there? It isn't quite. Very hard still to lock down this Slark. But at the least, TNC forced Black out of the lane. Look at a support kill. And they should be able to claim this tier 1 as well for Faceless.
TNC just feel way stronger in the game right now.
Yeah.
The team fight potential of Faceless is pretty weak. They lost their lanes, so what do you really fall back on? All you can do is farm and split push. And the only hero on their team who's having a decent time is this Medusa of Jabs, who got the mid tower, got a kill, but can't really do it all. In the nature of the hero is pretty slow. Ice knows that the Venge sees him now.
Oh, Rio maybe looking to set up. He's going to be the one gone on. Good stun from Ice. The heal and the repel comes through just in time for Sam H, and along with the GA, Rio is out of there. Black will try and chase with the Shadow Dance, turns towards the Omni. Sam H out of mana. He'll pop the Swan charges. He's nearly got enough for another purification, but the stun, swap from Rio. Trying to go for some fancy little play to save Sam H, but with 5 heroes closing in on him, the Omni will go down. Maybe they can rectify that. As TNC will be punished for hanging around.
Under attack.
Took a lot of time for Faceless. They get about 700 gold for this kill, but I think they used 2 or 3 TPs, 5 heroes, rotated for a long time. All in all, not enough really to give them any sort of meaningful advantage out of that play. If you look at the graphs, you know, I think it's 1 kill, right?
His Midas was off cooldown.
There's no dip.
So,
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Yeah, that's good.
Value lost for the Knight.
As far as the game plan of TNC, it's progressing very nicely still, though. The course is still farming, and when it comes to later on in this game, Black has to step up his game immediately when he gets the Shadow Blade. I don't think he's in a position here where he could just keep farming and expect to win the game in that way. Troll versus Slark is also an interesting matchup in the first place, where both heroes can win a fist fight against each other.
Can Faceless punish this? It's going to be quite a quick Roshan with the Troll. They are in the neighborhood. Ice finds Cuckoo at the side of the pit. Freezing field thrown straight down. They'll eliminate the OD. And that's enough to spook TNC. Great pick for Faceless to find. Roshan down to just above half health. TNC not wanting to stick around for it with one of their men off the map. Faceless doing a really good job of throwing TNC off their momentum there with that pick off.
This is a downside of going Midas first on OD as well. Often we see ODs choosing between going double null into Force Staff. Rare occasions we see the Veil of Discord. It's not that common anymore. But if you go for this Midas, you extend the period in which you're very susceptible. The Force Staff is extreme value on your hero. Just disengage and get in a better position. Without that, easy kill for Faceless on him. That is probably the biggest kill they found all game.
Yeah, definitely. Taking that OD down. Was up there in the top ranks of value this game so far. And he is gone. Raven Pays SMY, 7k net worth on the troll, but that still trying his best to catch up. He's just about to hit the 5k mark, and Shadow Blade a couple of hundred gold away. So all eyes on Black once he picks that up to make things happen. It certainly feels like he's not going to be able to make things happen on his own. He needs to be moving around with Ice because there's no way that with a Shadow Blade he can go on any of these members of TNC. They can normally save themselves, they're going to be too tanky, or there's going to be someone else behind them being incredibly disruptive.
Yeah. It's tricky for him because of how late this is, because, you know, in some cases, maybe he can solo the Venge. I think Ogre is...
I guess, yeah, Ra's probably the closest to being soloable.
I think he can kill Venge, but no one else. And what I was touching upon earlier is this matchup against Troll is kind of awkward in the sense that, you know, when Troll uses Whirling Axes, you can remove it with Dark Pact,
sure.
But vice versa. If you've used Dark Pact, this Troll Blind completely ruins your hero. And of course it's a low cooldown on the Dark Pact, but there still is that moment of downtime where when these two heroes fight against each other, if you get bashed up by Troll, he can also just, you know, cleave through you. He's a hero that isn't scared of man fighting, so you need to use your cooldowns very well, because Troll himself can force you to Dark Pact in the first place by using axes. And then if you take the man fight after that, you need to be careful with not just getting bashed out and not even getting your ulti on.
Yeah. And it's even the same kind of going against Rai. If he's managed to get a few one charges up and you go on him, you have to almost certainly Shadow Dance early. Because if he gets the chance to turn a Magic Missile, then there's going to be time for the turnaround or for him to just get himself out of there initially. And if you do Shadow Dance early to get the kill, by the time you've killed him, there'll be someone there to punish you, and then you don't have the Shadow Dance to escape.
Or maybe you do get the kill, but if you've used Shadow Dance and your other cooldowns to kill the VS, that doesn't even mean you win the fight.
Yeah, absolutely not. So it's a hard game for this slot.
It's difficult to play Slark in this game right now, I think. Very, very difficult. The player on the Dire side who probably has the easiest time right now is the Medusa. It's pretty clear cut out. Just walk around, get the farm. As long as you have information about what heroes are, you can do that. But the heroes who need to bring Faceless back into this game are the Slark and the Nyx, but it's just difficult for them to find fights that they would be even slightly favored in.
TNC sneak their way back into the pit. XY will head over to have a look here, but Roshan's already down. And yeah, XY. They put the borrowed time immediately, jabs. It's going to move forward. Does have a Stone Gaze if he wants to use it to try and save XY. XY will have a Sanity to clear Troll straight down onto his head. He falls. Cuckoo now in trouble though. Will get Stone Gazed up. Black with the rotation. Pops the Aegis immediately. Brings down OD once. GA comes out but not quick enough to save Raya. Raya's out and down. Can they kill the OD a second time? Black still trying to work his way into him. Will be held back by an Astral, but the Crystal Nova slows there. Cuckoo being slowed down. Trying to get his way out. Jump forward from Black as he passes out of the pit. The Dark Pact just in range. Great play from Black to close the gap. Will secure the kill. And Slark turning up just when he needed to. We talked about Black needing to have a high impact. You can't get higher than that. You just fought a team that was ahead of you. After they got Roshan and an Aegis, you pop the Aegis and then you kill their OD.
Yeah, that was pretty good from Faceless with the conditions they had. I thought that was actually going to turn into a complete disaster for them. The OD got to hit the Abaddon 4, 5, 6 times during his ultimate, so a lot of int stolen right away.
But then he just dropped, and it only hit the Abaddon.
I think it might have clipped the Medusa as well, I'm not sure, but the OD ulti I think just wasn't good enough in that fight. It's one of those situations where OD has two choices. He can banish the Abaddon during his ulti and you just outlast the duration, and then you know where you have him, but then you've used your banish and then you don't have it. So I think spamming Arcane Orbs out on the Abaddon there's the right choice, but they didn't really manage to get the follow-through that they were looking for, and at the end of the day, I believe Troll did not have Blink in that fight. That was just what I was going to look for. Do they have any mobility items?
Definitely did. You just picked that up.
Yeah, they couldn't follow through. OD was in this awkward position. And they Omni Knight ulti also didn't save the Vent. She died really early. Speaking of death, that is a dead Nyx.
No. He's gonna get out. Oh my, no. Kill yourself. No, the stick one charges. No. If he got out of that one, he made them work for it, Ice. But it does indeed end up going down.
That was quite the moment. Wow. So close. Mid tower's gonna fall here.
Definitely something not underestimate. And we're losing that OD, losing the Aegis, the pushing power of TNC. Still very much at a strong point at this stage of the game.
Looks interested in swapping. They changed their mind. I go here. back off play a bit slower again. They still...
Some good pickups coming out. Sam H has the Greaves complete for the next push up and group up from TNC. Medallion, of course, going to be the item of focus for the Venge this game. And yeah, after that first big item with the Midas into Dragon Lance, now looking to finish up the Hurricane Pike on Cuckoo. And there was 27 some of these tricky situations. We'll get to see the replay here of Itai fancy footwork. The first spike Carapace doing wonders as he catches both with the Ignite
That is
still proccing.
such a fast reaction on the stun, by the way.
Instantly gets the perfect angle.
Oh, and the dust.
The one
Half a second on the dust.
and the one just comes off cooldown, but
Carapace.
Raven, with the blink that we talked about picking up, enables him to get the shutdown and the catch off.
Very close. But anyway, this game's actually evened out. So
Yeah.
the early game for Faceless looked really, really bad, and they managed to salvage it pretty nicely. They're starting to find the farm. Sark got involved in a couple of fights that he could, so Black is back into this. He's still a bit behind the other cores, but it's within reach now.
It's just that both teams have kind of their net worth a little differently distributed. You look towards TNC as these three cores very much at the top, but over on the side of Faceless, in terms of specifically the support capacity, this Abaddon looking a lot bigger than either of the two supports that TNC have at this stage. So
Yeah.
splitting up the resources a little differently on Faceless' side. And what's the Abaddon XY going to be able to pick up with that? Well, it's the completed mech and him himself also looking for the medallion. So definitely, considering the way that TNC play, the fact that they have these two picks on XY could make the difference in these team fights.
Absolutely. It's one of the issues that you can run into when you run a support duo like Ogre Venge, is that neither hero really... I mean, Venge can farm if you play it that way. I just don't think that's the way Ryo plays for TNC. And the playmaker in Tim's is playing Ogre. Ogre doesn't farm. He makes everyone else farm. So, as a result, those two supports are definitely falling pretty far behind, and that puts a lot more pressure on TNC's cores. If there's missteps in the fights with the cores, it's way more costly when the supports can't really compensate for you. Whereas you look over to Faceless, like you mentioned, the Abaddon can have a big impact, relatively.
Top lane at the moment, Faceless deciding to simply avoid this sort of pressure. It will be a free tier 2, almost certainly for TNC, as they power in on the top. Faceless actually looking for a bit of a trade in terms of pushing. They have a couple of heroes that managed to move the mid lane to creep wave right back to the tier 2 of TNC. And bottom lane, they will end up claiming, so they get themselves the trade Faceless.
I think Faceless are happy with trading towers just because they open up the map. Opening it up on both sides will probably in this game favor them a bit more, since they have the catch of both Sark and Nyx. So if they can open up so they can push the lane split and force TNC back, that's when they get the opportunity to find these pickoffs that their lineup wants to play for, but hasn't really been able to for 25 minutes so far.
I wonder if anyone will be able to grab their hands of that DD ring down bottom. It's very nice to make a play with. Bottom lane, nice side, just for a bit of harassment. Onto Raven, has his own blink complete now as well. Next action will be looking towards the Yule Scepter. And Cuckoo with the Buddha Defiance. Sure, it's a little trickier for some of these central counter picks to burst him down. The Nyx Assassin in particular. That mana burn can certainly pack a punch if you are lacking the magic resist.
Not that common to see this picked up by OD.
Do you think it is, as I said, because of the Nyx?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be. He can at least block one mana burn with the barrier.
Is it just, I mean, why the hood and say over the BKB?
That's the question.
Yeah.
It's a bit unusual here. I think BKB actually has really high value, but maybe he felt like he needed something temporarily. He needs something now to help him stay strong in the fight. Maybe he's relying a bit more on the repel rather than going the BKB route for that reason, since Troll is getting one. He has it in a moment. So Sam H's designated target will be the OD protecting him. Black, get it out of there. And okay, he used it.
Yeah, there's no way to control him for that sort of play.
Yeah, they actually have nothing on their lineup at all.
Yeah. Again, it's another situation where the Slark has been picked, and TNC went with the idea of having this high pressure that they can try and push into him before he gets to a certain point. When he does get to this point that arguably Black has, the lockdown again, it's not there. Where's your catch for the Slark?
It's still...
I mean, you've got, as you said earlier, you've got a lot of ways to get the target that Slark's going on away from, make it very hard for Black to finish off the job with an instant jump in. And I guess that's what you've got to abuse to just try and prolong the fight so that his spells are used and suddenly you can hit back at him. But it's still tricky to jump in and take the Slark out of the fight immediately.
You can pretty quickly force him to use Shadow Dance.
Yeah.
And after that, it's difficult to come back in when you're playing against these heroes. If OD gets to hold his ultimate the whole time, the Sanity's Eclipse deals a lot of damage on Slark. Of course, Black has gone for a somewhat decent stat build with having the 10 int from the Saber and the 15 from the Silver Edge, so that's 25 int going his way, which is nice. But over extended periods of time in these fights, OD will just be a problem, let's put it that way. So yes, it is great for Slark that there's not so much catch, especially from the farming perspective, that he feels a lot safer in that regard. But even if Slark gets big in this, I feel like the TNC team do have options to kill him off in fights. They have all this damage that over the extended fights probably will be good enough for them. The BKB is popped. He's going to go for Ice Ice here. The troll, the bash.
Jabs get in position for the Stone Gaze to proc, not in time before the kill comes through.
This could be a problem for Jabs as well.
Yeah, with the Blink chase down, Raven's ready to look for more. No BKB. XY trying to come on across to help, but a brilliant swap from Ryo, bringing Jabs away from any sort of possible help that Faceless could offer him.
Huge for TNC. Should be a mid tower. They will lose their top tower to Black. He's doing the best he can at this moment in time. Getting that right there. OD is showing up. Black's like, see you later. Shadow Dance TP out. Yeah, Faceless will not miss this time. No point in even trying.
This is going to be a freebie. And TNC, I mean, if you're TNC, do you think you want to be pushing up to the high ground pretty soon against this lineup, or can you afford to get a couple more items on Raven, say build him up to another sort of power spike?
I think most importantly, you don't throw your lead away. That's what they need to do. Going high ground is dangerous without Aegis. In general, I think in this game is no different. Yes, they have saves, but things can go wrong, and I don't think their advantage is big enough to go for the high ground push. So rather, I would like to see them take the bottom tier to get the Roshan, which is spawning very soon. Then they can start trying to push with just sending in the Troll. I think you only let Troll hit the tower, and OD stands back, Venge stands back, and then you have both Swap and the Astral to try to save him. That's the good news for them, is there's no repositioning abilities on Faceless. No like Book or Force Staffs, I think they don't have just yet. Nyx is going Yules. So not coming out for him. Yeah, TNC pretty comfortable position here. I think this Roche will eventually be there. Main thing they need to be wary of is Stone Gaze.
See if their side of Faceless are aware of this at all. There'll be a scan from TNC. They know that Faceless are closing the gap, so a nice scan to give them the information that they need to play it safe. And they will retreat out the pit for the time being, knowing that Faceless are interested in this area of the map. Bottom lane, Black just knocking on tier 3. Tims has had to head down bottom. Now actually with that, knowing that they brought at least the Ogre down there, Faceless themselves now sneak into the pit. So a great little play from Slark. We'll see if TNC want to contest this. They're coming back across, but Roshan's falling fast. XY, he just finished off the Solar Crest, and with that, Faceless take Roshan down right underneath the noses of TNC, and they're ready to try and look for some action. Immediate swap from Ryo to try and keep Cuckoo safe, forces his way back up to the high ground, and it looks like he will be able to create enough of a gap to keep himself safe. But that split pressure from Black into that immediate play from the rest of the team ends up paying off big for Faceless.
This was very nice. Textbook stuff. You feel like the enemy team is roaching, you go and scout it and get them scared with the Mantis Tile coming in, and of course, maybe a blessing in disguise for them that TNC actually scanned them out. They got scared earlier than they had to and backed out of the pit. I don't know if they could have completed it, but regardless, it was the correct idea from Faceless, sending in the Mantilus, getting information, Black's pushing bottom, any TP down, they get a 5-on-4 in the pit, and get the roach. And you might say it's just an Ogre who isn't there. Like, can they fight without the Ogre? Maybe. But I think it's difficult. And in addition to that, it's not just Ogre not having the stun there or the ignite or whatever. The Bloodlust running out is a big deal. Like,
yeah.
These heroes are like a lot stronger with Bloodlust. It's so big on OD and Troll to have this ability running, and the duration of it isn't long enough that Ogre can just TP bottom, and then it's 30-second duration. It's not long enough.
What do you think about this this from Raven? So going for the butterfly now after the BKB, grabbing himself a some evasion. I mean, in that sense, there's going to be no MKB or Bloodthorn for sure anytime soon on Faces, so he'll certainly be that little bit more survivable on front lines for these sieges that potentially round the corner for them.
I'm wondering if it's better than Scotty. I don't think he really needs Flutter. He's going to be max move speed almost all the time with Bloodlust. He's already 500 or whatever. With that running 508. And phase boots, fling. His mobility is very high, so the Flutter for that purpose isn't that useful. So it's about the evasion versus the raw stats of Scotty. I think most trolls in this situation favor the Scotty just so they can stay on their target and keep the stacks of fervor running. But obviously has its merits to go for a butterfly when you're playing against 2 physical damage cores. The issue is Medusa doesn't mind going MKB. It's generally an item the hero likes to pick up regardless. So
yeah, especially I guess now she's got that Scotty complete. She's got her kind of pig-based stats built up. Damage is going to be the route that she'll look for next.
I think Jabs would like to go MKB. It might be one of the items he's considering. When he sees this butter, it's a no-brainer. That's going to be the choice. Especially Venge wants to build Solar Crest as well. MKB on Dusa should be next on it.
Oh, and he's actually changed it up, Chol. As you suggested, you know, the more common, he's going for the Scotty.
Oh.
Man, Cuckoo getting caught out. Black's to be there with a lead in. Immediate repel will protect the OD from the pounce through Black, trying to stay on his target, but the GA's there, and OD forces out. Stone Gaze is popping Jazz to make sure the TNC can't reinitiate. Ice connects with the stun onto the Omni Knight. Good Astral from OD. Quite some time for Sam H. It's going to be enough. Still has the purification. The swap as well from Ryo. Some very tight play for TNC, keeping everyone alive and getting them safely back to the base. I say that though, Tim still, I think caught out. He's out of mana. Well, it looks like they tried to reinitiate after Faces came out, and that will cost Ryo's life.
This Medusa is a really big problem. It's the reason TNC can't fight. It's countering the troll very, very hard. He wants to go in, just gets stone gazed and forced away. They can't really go on any targets. See, great defensive place to stay alive. And one thing they need to be wary of on that Faceless is that Cuckoo is starting to get a lot of intelligence right now. So far, stolen 24.
We'll connect the stun. Black seeing if he finds an opportunity to jump in. Immediate fire blast for Tims. 2 times multicast. TNC doing their best to hold. Cuckoo with the Hurricane Pike. More and more in going his way as he grabs it from Jabs.
36. They could go for a smoke now if they wanted. He has it for quite a while. About a minute left on at least 20 of this intelligence. Not sure how big a fan I am of this rod of Atos this game with you. I would still really like to see him go BKB. I know you're playing with an Omni Knight, but Repel is not what he used to be. Like it's a 7-second duration, which is definitely very good. But then you're relying on Omni Knight being in range to cast it. You can't use it exactly when you want. If your read on the fight is different, you know you want to take the initiative, just get in. Of course, you can make a case against it because of Stone Gaze, but eventually I feel like he will need to get it at some point.
Oh, Tims may have got a bit greedy here. Was looking to put a bit of harassment down onto Black, but Ice was there with the punish. At the same time, though, Cuckoo will blow him nuts, but he did drop the Sanity's Eclipse for that one, Sin. So that's now gone for 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, I think you're happy with that if you're Faceless, this trade-off.
No
1 for 1 on supports. Ogre is down. I think right now he's more important in the game than the Crystal Maiden is. No Bloodlust on TNC. No Sanity's Eclipse on TNC. They do lose the Aegis, but I still think Faceless can think about this at least, going for this high ground tower.
And those Sanities just seems like a huge deal. They need everything that they just get at this to have the damage. Jabs will be swapped in, but immediately the Stone Gaze in reaction. Raven pops the BKB, has to retreat. Sam H as well. There's no shrine in this area to heal by the Purifier. Raven turns back around, gets the slow, Faceless, focusing the tier 3. Fortification will come out. Cuckoo jumps forward, manages to get the Astral onto 1. Raven jumps forward looking for XY, but they have the ultimate still available. Black pops the Shadow Dance to BKB as well, focusing towards Sam H. He's starting to build up these Essentia stacks on the Slark. Jazz forced back up the high ground. Raven continues to try and chase. Magic Missile connects with the Solar Crest from XY. Laid down onto Jabs, keeping him alive for the time being is not enough. TNC have the damage to fight through the evasion. The rod onto the Nyx Assassin. They picked up a third. Triple kill for Cuckoo. They're not quite done. They're looking for Black. Oh, he's stuck with the clip, but nuts with the freezing field. It doesn't matter. The CM is ripped to pieces in a couple of hits. They don't have vision on the high ground though. Black will be safe for now.
Oh, he needs to be so careful with jumping down. Did they see that? No,
he got away with it. But still, nonetheless, TNC, they may not have killed the Slark, but 4 massive kills.
great hold.
And just great aggression from Raven, just blinking forward and chasing down on the front lines, locking onto targets. The HL ends up working out, allowing both Raven and Cuckoo to hit into their opponents.
It's basically a fight. It's like a game of bait and switch, right? You jump in with the troll to force them to do so ulti, then you disengage. Then in turn, Faceless wants to fight you inside your base. You get superior position. You turn around. Stone Gaze is on cooldown. Troll's BKB is on cooldown. What matters more? Probably the Stone Gaze right now, actually.
Yeah.
Because it allowed OD to go crazy in this fight. Simply with that being down, 72 install, and they took that fight. Remember, no Sanity's Eclipse in that fight even. They didn't need it.
If they had a Sanity's there, I mean, Slark would have been in a different place.
Yeah.
If they could have burned his mana before he's able to get up to the high ground. Bashir will be picked up from Black, but 2 buybacks forced out there, so absolutely perfectly done. And in a fight as well where it looked like it was going alright for Faceless. Black was getting some good stacks off at the start. It was just the fact that both Raven and Cuckoo focus on Jabs, bring him down so low at the beginning of it all. And then there's no way for Jabs to run his way out of there. Ice tries his best with a good stun. But TNC, they've got this beef, they've got this 5-man just pure out brawn.
The arcane orb is very important in this game. It's what making it difficult for Medusa. You could consider going BKB to itemize against that, so you at least have those 10 seconds to fight in. But you really don't really want to do that right now. TNC smoke to ward. They are not doing anything else with it, however.
See how long the cooldowns to be on Roshan. Could be potentially up very shortly if it's a quick respawn. Faceless very careful about how they go around trying to break the high ground after that last attempt. 2 minutes until Roche, something that both teams would definitely have a high interest in at this point. And Aegis could definitely kind of be converted into a set of racks at this stage for both lineups.
Absolutely. It's in this weird state where I think you want Roche more so that the enemy team doesn't get the Aegis than that you get it. It's maybe slightly scarier for TNC if the Aegis goes Faceless' way, because that is a guaranteed tier 3 at the very least, and they can disengage and take Shrine Control and play from there. TNC still needs to get through more structural damage in order to reach that point, but this is going to be a stalemate for a minute and a half more than likely while this Roshan gets ready to come back to life. Let's have a look at big items coming up. So XY has more than half of his Aghanims on the Abaddon, always a big item to look out for in late game scenarios. 4 Staff is the next item for Ice. I personally think you should have got it before the Yules in this particular game. Okay. Very nice item.
Cuckoo just finished off his Hex. That's going to be pretty huge.
We've got Hex, massive item. Black gets swapped.
There we have the Hex, but in fact he got the double up. Oh! Sanity's Eclipse from Cuckoo just destroys Black. He's down for 80 seconds. XY taken out as well. There'll be a buyback from the Slug. But that Sanity's, if he has it, it just wipes Slug to the floor. 3k damage dealt in a matter of seconds by that OD.
I think he got 1 Arcane Orb hit off, or actually 2. I think he got
I think he got 2.
Swap into Hex, but Black was very quick on the finger with Dark Pact. But those 2 attacks and the ult, 3k damage. Pretty good.
Absolutely insane. Black has to be so careful around this OD, and yeah, as you said, Ryo has been playing some fantastic Vengeful Spirit here today. Whether it be saving heroes, or just throwing them right into the chaos of TNC's clutches. Black, to be careful now. Another death on this Slark will at least be in 2 sets of racks. They do still have the tier 2 bottom. So this 5 or 6 minutes or so of Black not having buyback may not be all over if he does go down. We'll see how safe Faceless want to play. Very hard to punish TNC though at this time, especially with Roche back up. And TNC looking to go straight into the pit. There's a DD down bottom. If Faceless can find that and bring it over to the pit in time, it'll be pretty major. But Raven already in there and ripping this Roshan to pieces. They're starting to head over. Can they get there in time? Faceless looking for the opening. Duel, ice, with a good stun onto 2 on the sidelines. Jump onto Tims, but Tims just goes with the TP out. Roshan falls. Aegis picked up by Cuckoo. Cuckoo repelled up, turns towards Jabs, forces his way out of the pit. Raven, he can't get himself out of there though. The BKB and the Jade protect him. Ryo comes in with a save, jumps in with the swap, brings Raven out of there. The Hex forcing one of the members of Faceless to back up. Ryo will finally be taken down. Raven now jumps back into the pit, gets bashed up though by Black. Black starting to build up the stacks. Cuckoo will buy some time for Raven here with the defensive Astral. It's not enough though. Raven and Cuckoo to fall. Cuckoo is going to be back for a second round with that Aegis, but he's surrounded by Faceless. Cuckoo almost only going to fall as well. Will Astral himself. The Faces still with a 5-man alive. Stick around, bring him down again. And another situation where a team able to get Roshan and the Aegis, but just the brutality of the follow-up, the slaughter from Faceless as they move on for another. Black ending the fight with 54 Essence Shift stacks. That is going to destroy the structures of TNC if they can't keep him off it. This Slark is going to do so much damage on this push.
They have to buy back both carries. Yep, there we go.
They've got to get this Slark off.
He might go back now. Play it safe here.
More Cuckoo. Yeah, he's looking to fight. He's going to Hex him straight away, but Black just turns. You can't do that against a Slark that's building up more and more stacks. Ryo with the swap out will save Cuckoo for the time being, but Ryo's down. You just cannot go anywhere near this Slark. Black, he's moving on for more. The bash is connected to Raven. Raven BKB is trying to run with the pounds forward after the match community wears off. Black 83 and 4. This is the highest amount of SSU stacks I've ever seen. 84 stacks. How does that even happen? Black just going absolutely ham. The tier 3's down in the mid lane. He turns towards the mid set of racks. This Slark is off the charts. Level 25. Black, look, he's vibrating with power. The camera can't contain it. He's reached his final form. And they've taken a second set.
Oh, they caught OD in the mid as well.
Oh, look at the legs go. Oh, but Black, he's got to keep his cool. Will be jumped on. The BKB comes out. He backs away.
Big.
Can they punish this TNC? They'll get one. Looking to move on for a second. Black and Jab's already on the retreat. Raven trying to get the catch. Can he find anyone? Black still with about 50 stacks to play with, but player safe, backs away. TNC, they only lose the CM on the way out of that. A massive play for Faceless. That fight after the Roshan and the Aegis going the way of TNC. And this Slark, that was so risky of TNC to come forward and try and defend that set of racks. They almost just had to let it go and not try and punish Faceless at that point of time where the Slark was so damn fat.
They just had to use a lot of defensive cooldowns to save the OD who maybe played that one a bit too aggressively, and then the fight becomes very difficult to take. By the way, we've just had action for like 3 minutes straight. What happened to the cheese? I never saw it. I saw it drop, and I didn't see either of the heroes in the pit pick it up. Did it get destroyed?
I think it might have been used in the first initial...
By who?
Aegis fight.
I don't think... Did Troll use it? I mean, I didn't see it. I was talking about the important things here. What happened to the cheese?
What happened
to the damn cheese?
Don't worry, we'll get red on.
Yeah, I'm sure. Sure we have some... It's the big question for the panel after this game. Big talking point.
Some EDAM experts.
What happened to the Gouda?
Gorgonzola gods. Some cheddar...
That's a good nickname for David.
Sherlock.
Gorgonzola gods.
Gorgonzola gods?
Yep, I like it.
Why, what's that got to do with gods?
You call him Gorgonzola gods?
What's that got anything to do with him?
Oh, I like it.
What is his association with cheese? Maybe Australia's a cheesy place.
Well, there goes the shrine. Let's see if they can run down TNC here. This looks like TNC are going to play the safe, wise decision. This game is not over yet, by the way.
Oh, it's not.
There are
I mean, they've not called GG.
Buyback cooldowns.
Good analysis.
1 minute on Slark. And what's that? 4 minutes on Troll, 4 minutes on OD. So actually only Slark with buyback cooldown on the Dire. Both Medusa and Nyx currently with the gold in their pockets to do it. And the supports more than likely won't have to do it. Baden's actually really high level. He'll be dead for a while if he gets killed. Level 21 closing in on that for him. But now the advantage massively stacked in Faceless's favor. The Aghanim Scepter of Abaddon is going to become a really big problem because you've seen these fights. It's so much about this. How much int does OD steal? How much agility does Slark steal? The fights go really long. If they can just go on the OD and force him to not attack, I don't think any of their heroes are going to die to Troll when they have this Abaddon ulti. So they're pretty much free to do whatever they want during that full duration. What a crazy game this has been. There's been a lot of surprises throughout this mid-game and the later stage of the game.
I mean, what a series it's been as well. Very much up and down. Every game, very different how it sort of played out. Both teams having very clear strengths in just different areas of play and play style. And here in this third one, sort of clash of the combination, both of the teams' peak performance. TNC certainly on the back foot. We've seen what they've been able to pull out in earlier team fights, not only this game, but in this series where they have been behind, but still they have managed to out-coordinate the plays of Faceless. Can they do it again here when everything is on the line for them?
Got some level 25 coming in. So OD got 25 now. That is the int steal that he chose. Medusa, level 24, 25 closing in. Probably going to see the 2-second stone gaze stun, I would imagine. Very, very powerful ability to have. Stark, 12 all stats. And I believe that's it for now as far as level 25 heroes go. Something important to keep in mind, it generally shifts the balance of the game quite a lot if one team gets a couple of 25s before the other one. Swap. Oh, in! Whoa.
That was the quickest reaction I've ever seen with Lotus Orb.
That was like next level.
That was the same frame, it felt.
Yeah,
well, with that Faceless, really going up to the high ground, Jab's not having to worry about the swap for a bit. Five Blast come through, but Jab's just so tanky with the backup of the shields, the Solar Crest. What can they do? Raven, that's a big pickup. Does have the MKB. Absolutely crucial against this lineup with XY.
But OD doesn't, so he can't really hit Jabs. He has so much evasion. Butterfly plus Crest.
Oh, here we go. The Hex will be laid down onto Jabs. Repel on Cuckoo, very nicely done as well to make sure that there's no chance of him hexing himself. There we go, Astral to start things off. Black and Ice waiting for the prime opportunity to go up to the high ground. Spike Carapace stuns up Cuckoo initially, coming in, starting to rack up the intel on Cuckoo.
That's 16 at the current point in time.
Managed to do already a fair bit of damage to the melee racks. And already the creeps are pouring in on the other lanes. Tier 4s are going to start getting pressured by the creep push. Cuckoo again, trying to get what he can, but as you mentioned, this evasion really stinting how much intel he can build up from Jab's Medusa at the moment because of that Solar Crest.
Good stun.
The stunning will get the Hex off in return in time. Force back with TNC. There's the Hurricane Pike onto Black. A little bit more stolen. Now Cuckoo jumps forward with a Battle Charge. Jab's quick with the Stone Gaze. They're taking down the melee racks. Black jumps forward onto the Ogre. Looks for the easy kill now. Turns towards Cuckoo, who does end up getting procced by the Stone Gaze. It's a lot of damage being racked up by Black once again. They'll turn towards their next target. Ryo falling down quick and fast. That's the Venge down and down. There'll be a bite back from Ogre. Black now moves forward, gets the pounce onto Cuckoo. There'll be a defensive Astral, but Tim's forced back to the base. Samech, one more purification onto himself. It's not enough to save his teammates. Odie's down for 110 seconds. He does have buyback available. He's not utilizing it quite yet. What can Raven do with his MKB? He'll jump forward. Has the backup of Samech, but the Lotus Orb again, making sure the Ogre ends up stunning himself. Black, absolutely lovely. GG is called. Black and the boys have done it. Faceless take the series 2-1, and they'll be moving forward. Some excellent performance from the team. Black having two fantastic games on the Slark. And at the end of the day, TNC just couldn't pull through with what they were able to do in Game 2 once again here in Game 3. What a series, and what a performance from Faceless.
Speaking of Black, it's nice to see in this game that I think a while back, Black was struggling a lot with not getting